That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Simulant, which I believe is the 9th film, directed by April Mullen, Canadian. It is being released courtesy of Vertical Entertainment on June 2nd, 2023.
Do you know the director's other films?
Nope, not one of them.
Oh. Well, this one. Set in the near future, a humanoid enlists a global hacker to remove all restrictions on his thoughts and capabilities, triggering an AI uprising and a government manhunt to eliminate the rise of the machine consciousness. I don't know where I pulled this from, but that's the entire movie.
That sounds like a log line as well. And
Oops.
That is from IMDb, I believe.
That's basically it. So Jordana Brewster plays a human
Named Faye.
who was married, but her husband was killed in a car accident. But these two people decided that before he died, that they were just going to go ahead and buy these humanoids, which are called stimulants. Stimulants. And they bought ones that looked just like them.
Mm-hmm.
So when the husband dies, Jordana sort of enlists her husband's simulant to be like a replacement.
Yeah, she activates him. Meanwhile, they have a room where they're just set up in, like, just an extra room.
So these people have money. But we see that she's struggling with that and ultimately decides that she can't, like, he's not going to work for her. She needs her real husband who's gone. So then we have Sam Worthington, who's part of the Artificial Intelligence Compliance Enforcement, and he's out here cracking down on simulants that are like misbehaving.
The acronym for that is ACE.
And
Ace Ventura.
When we first meet him, he immediately comes across a simulant who appears to not follow commands.
Esmé.
So he is like, I need to get to the bottom of this. Something is weird. And then we have Simu Liu. Mm-hmm. He is a hacker. And he is unlocking these simulants' programming so that they can become sentient. And like this says, he's doing that because the gag is, we find out that Simu Liu, he's not a human, he's also a simulant. And his creator, a human who looks just like, he's made a clone of himself. That human, his child was killed by a simulant, so now his mission is to get rid of AI, and he believes the only way to do that is to show the world that AI is bad. So he's hacking all these simulants so they can start to act crazy. But in the end, he is successful. Like, he unlocks all the simulants.
Because they are due for the Model 7 simulants are due for an automatic upgrade.
Update,
and he is kind of like when your iPhone is ready for such an update and is able to hack that and infiltrate, and then the freedom spreads amongst the simulants.
Overall, I thought this movie felt really basic.
Yeah.
Dull. It does look okay. And I think the story is like...
It's pretty derivative. I mean, since the conception of robots is it Karel Kapchik in the 1920s, that has always been kind of the underlying fear that we see in them, and even something recent like Megan as well, that they are going to take over, they are going to destroy, they are more intelligent than we will ever be.
But this one's not funny or thrilling or creepy. And then I was really let down by Jordana Brewster's character.
Well, Jordana Brewster and Sam Worthington, that's bad casting there, because they both should have been AI, because they're both dead behind the eyes.
Man, that lady, because I feel like if this were a good movie, we would have felt like her grief for her dead husband and how she really wanted to connect with this robot. But it's like, there is nothing
well, because
going on.
It just totally misses the mark on something really creepy and weird, is that she had this replacement husband, and then she feels weird about it, and she has a sexual relationship with him, and she doesn't...
But we don't talk about it.
Right, it doesn't feel right. And to me, it's initially I was like, oh, this is going to be that terrible Mahershala Ali film, Swan Song, where he clones himself because he's dying, and it's like, that's so maudlin, and we're not dealing with the reality of, a human experience here. It totally loses the kind of weird, grotesque kind of game that humans are playing with by doing this in the first place, or it also made me wish like somebody would make a version of After Yang where somebody had unleashed that robot and he like kills a little girl or something.
Yeah, Jordana Brewster wasn't giving me anything. Sam Worthington, he's okay to me, but I think he felt really out of place in this film. Like his physical acting, for some reason we get a few shots of him running, and that seemed awkward. Like he's not used to doing that. And then his accent work seemed interesting.
Playing a character named Kessler.
I don't really have notes. I mean, the only note I have is that there are levels to the simulants. So like the high-end version would be the one that looks like and thinks like a human and can have the consciousness of a human, like a clone. And then the lower end version is like the robot from the Jetsons, where it just is doing housework and not just, but those are its duties. So the one we see for Jordana Brewster, I don't know. The decision to make this doll look the way it did, I thought was laughable, because to me, it looks like if on RuPaul's Drag Race, the runway theme was Jetsons realness, that's what this doll looked like very plasticky and fake with like big breasts and cleavage that's showing. I thought that took me out.
It's creepy, but in a way that the rest of the film doesn't justify that kind of level of creepiness to make us understand, like, why is that the model? And there's also this creepy looking demon geisha
who we only see like in like standing on the corner.
Yeah, because they're eating at like some place like Volcano is getting served sushi by this thing. I totally found it funny that Jordana Brewster, Faye, she's tired of what's his name, Evan. She drops him off at this hotel that's meant for simulants to stay at, kind of like a pet hotel, but it also reminded me of Flowers in the Attic. Like, I'm just done with you. Could you just...
I was also disappointed because Simu Liu's character, we find out that he was able to get access to two of the simulants by seducing them. So two women simulants, he makes them fall in love with him, and that's how he has access to deprogram them. So when he gets to the male robot, Jordana's husband, of course I'm like, ooh, this will be interesting. Is he going to try to seduce him? No, he just tells them like, hey, I want to deprogram you so you can be sentient.
And why didn't he tell the female robot?
Right, why didn't he tell them that? Because the male robot's like, okay, which didn't make sense to me because they're programmed to obey and not to do that. So how did Simu Liu's character just telling him that suffice?
Well, at first he turns him down, but then Jordana sends him a bunch of his belongings. That's like, you're going to keep these here, and he feels...
So he's butthurt, but...
even more slighted, and I don't know.
Which makes me think... But then it's like, so he does have... The problem with this story is that the simulants are too human. So the leap from like they already seem like they can develop thoughts. They're just programmed to obey, like shut down, never hurt a human. But they're a little too close. I feel like the story should have examined like those boundaries and like how we're pushing shit too far. Because really, what do we need these things for? To help us with stuff we don't want to do.
Or to use in ways that we don't feel like we could with another human because we look down on them.
Right, which would be more subversive.
The weird shit that humans actually do to other people anyway.
But in this case, it just seems like I don't understand why we're making these simulants like replacements for humans. But then it seems like they don't suffice in that way.
And also, it made me want to rewatch Minority Report because it's been a minute. But also, the ace agent, Sam Worthington, is like no one else interested in this thread that he's pulling on that seems pretty major.
Because this isn't like a little beta project that's just happening in San Francisco. Like, I mean, this is like it seems like a global thing that everyone's doing. Yeah, why is there just one agent? Because he does tell his boss about it.
About Esmé, who looks like Lily Collins.
And the boss is like, don't worry about it.
Right.
What?
It's like, shouldn't somebody's been hacked, and what are the ramifications of this?
If iPhones start getting hacked, I'm sure they would shut all that shit down very quickly. So this just seems silly to me.
But also, at the same time, I've seen a lot worse, which I feel like I'm saying a lot these days, but...
What would you give this film?
I think 2 out of 5 is fair. For somebody's like 9th film, I feel like we should be aiming a little higher.
I would give it 2 out of 5 as well. Anything else?
No.
Hit the thanks button. Listen to our podcast. Bye.